Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. And I know that we usually, like in this type of setting, I know that usually that means, ooh, a movie review. Not yet. Not yet. I do have plans to watch a movie pretty soon. But yeah, not yet. So stay tuned though, they are coming. Please mind if you hear cars driving around, it literally is now just dead night. I just went for a walk at the beach, so, but, I think that's the end of the loud cars, but, um, this is a topic that I for some reason have avoided, when it comes to, like, the film community, because I always felt that this debate was just ridiculous, but, in light of some recent comments made by the director of Freaky, I felt it'd be appropriate now to make this video. For those who don't know, the director of Freaky, the body swapping movie that came out, I think in 2020, went on Twitter and made a few comments about the strategy to release movies in theaters and on streaming at the exact same time. We've seen this done before, obviously, in the past with HBO Max, and of course Peacock is doing that strategy with the Halloween films, and they just did it this weekend with Halloween Ends, which I don't care for those Halloween movies. I liked the original Halloween. I didn't love it, but I heard the new trilogy is okay. But more importantly, it released simultaneously. So it released in theaters and on Peacock. And the director Freaky decided to go on Twitter and make a couple of comments about that, and basically blasting studios for for doing such strategies, and that could be like the downfall for movies to be for movies to be seen, and they probably not might get a lot of revenue back, or it could really affect the filmmaker for their future. And it's a very interesting debate to have, because I don't think that anyone's going to just disagree with his comments. I don't think that anyone's going to disagree with the Freaky director's comments, because he's not wrong. I mean, if your film does end up on streaming, it is more than likely to not be seen, because usually the landscape shows that people will go see how do I put this? Unless you are Marvel, DC, or Star Wars, you have better odds of your movie being seen in the theater than on streaming. So I see where the Freaky director is coming from. I will also point out, though, two things about that most people have been saying about his comments. First things first, Freaky came out in 2020, I believe, so it was right in the meat of the pandemic. So no one was going out to the theater anyway. So so there's that. Because studios were trying to figure out what the landscape for movies was going to be, because a lot of people like myself thought that movie theaters were dead. So so it was they were trying to figure stuff out. But now we're basically getting back to theatrical releases. A lot of studios obviously experimented with streaming releases, and if you see HBO Max, obviously that idea is kind of dumb. If it's done in a particular way, it might benefit, but the core of all this, like the reality to this whole debate, the reason why this debate is nonsensical to me is because the studio at the end of the day will determine where that movie goes. Okay? I know that every filmmaker wants their movie to be seen, obviously. Yes, that is a lot of people want to see their art to be seen, obviously. And of course, every filmmaker's dream is to have their movie shown in a movie theater. It is just an awesome experience. I fortunately had that experience, so and I can tell you, it's It's pretty fun. Um, but I am not against the idea also of having a film on streaming. I also have had that experience as well, having a film on streaming services. It's not bad. And especially looking at the landscape that we have today, a lot of people are more comfortable with streaming services now because of the still of the some of the aware of the scares going on with the pandemic. For some people, I know that they like to make the stupid comment that the pandemic is over. It's not. Um, but I know for a lot of people, they they prefer streaming because it's a lot more obtainable and it doesn't cost them as much. Because going to the movie theater is also extremely expensive. If you're going by yourself, that's one thing. I mean, even going by yourself, that's pretty expensive. But I mean, think about it. You have to pay $15 for a ticket, $15 per ticket. Then you have to get the concessions. Then you have to get there on time. You probably want to get some dinner beforehand or something like that. Like, it could build, like the expenses are huge. So that's why a lot of people choose to just do streaming, because you're at your home, you have all the stuff there. You might just go buy some popcorn or something, and then you're ready to go. So, but from a production standpoint, I completely understand where the freaky director is coming from, though, because yeah, having it being released on streaming, yeah, your odds of it being seen are a lot less than it being in the theater. But we're talking about a movie that came out in 2020, so this is a movie that was not going to be seen regardless. And I see where he's coming from. I definitely do. And it's not like Freaky is not liked. I mean, people do like that movie from what I was told. I hear about it like every so often, and like, it's not to say the movie is not considered good. People enjoyed your movie, which I think is something, I know it's super bad to say, or not super bad, but just like, it kind of puts in perspective of the mindset of a filmmaker. I'm trying not to be like this, but to filmmakers, it does matter because we're very insecure. We value good feedback, or we value positive feedback. We do. We do value when people say that our stuff is good. It makes you feel good. There's a sense of validation also, obviously, as we addressed on this channel. So I would think that the freaky director would actually be happy because his movie received good reviews. I'm pretty sure people liked it. But I get where he's coming from. I get his frustrations. But it's not up to him. The studio will determine where that movie goes. Like, they did it to the Predator movie. And the reason why they did it to the Predator movie is because the other Predator movies did not perform well and they were not received well. So that's why it got pushed to Hulu. Or when they dumped Deep Water earlier this year. Because they knew they had a crappy movie on their hands and they decided to dump it. At the end of the day, you make the movie you're making, but once it's done, it's no longer your movie. I mean, it never is your movie throughout the whole production. When you're working with a big studio, or any studio at that matter, it's not your movie. You're having to collaborate with the executives and all that sort of stuff, and they are the ones who will determine whether or not your movie will be seen, will be finished, and where and how it will be shown. Like, that's, it's not up to you. The only control that you have is where you place the camera, or where you what shots you want, or this or that. That's what you have. You have control of how you want to tell your story to an extent, but not where that story will be shown. So like, for me personally, I'm comfortable with both. I'm comfortable with theatrical. Like, the pandemic has really I've seen the value of streaming, you know, because maybe it's just me, but when I go on streaming services, at least back then when it was during the pandemic, I got to see a lot of movies that I would not have seen elsewhere, you know? And it has now let me forge my new taste, which is seeking out smaller projects, you know, and, you know, focusing more on independent work and, you know, that kind of vein. So, because I think there's more creativity from that, you know, but this whole streaming versus theatrical debate, I think, is just ridiculous because at the end of the day, it's not your decision. And I feel like you should be content with whatever. I mean, just think about it. Your movie is being released regardless. That's in and of itself of an accomplishment. You got to get your movie released, and it's in many of these cases, they're being put on some huge streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool. I would be pretty. I mean, I'd be pretty. What's the word? I'd be pretty, like, you know, like, oh, cool. You know, I wouldn't make a big fuss over it, like, oh, my movie's not going on streaming. It's like, you know, just be grateful that it's being released at all. You know. So yeah, I mean, I see where he's coming from, but I think that it doesn't hold much water because it's not your decision, and just be grateful that the movie's being released at all, because there are some instances where movies get shelved. We see it with Batgirl. So just be grateful, because there's people out there who do not get their projects released, and all that work that they did was pretty much for nothing. So that's my 2 cents on this whole debate. I am comfortable with both. I'm really comfortable with both. And I think that it's just a pretty nonsensical debate, because it's no one's decision but the studio heads and the executives. Those are the people who will determine where that movie goes. And it could be due to the box office draw, like how that's going to perform, or the quality of it. It depends. But at the end of the day, it's not your decision. So, and just be glad that it's being put out anywhere and being shown. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. You guys let me know your thoughts on the whole streaming versus theatrical debate. Do you guys have a preference? Do you think that streaming is a killer for filmmakers? Because I've heard that term used too. It's like, oh, it's the death sentence. Oh my gosh, it's killing the movie business. It's like, I don't see that. It's just an evolution. You know, it's just another means of releasing movies. That's how I see it. I've had a movie put in theaters. I actually got to, not tooting my own horn, but I actually got to go to the TCL Chinese Theater and show my film off at that screen. And also, during that same time, I also had it released on a streaming service as well. Like, and I was cool with, like, either way. Like, if I didn't get that opportunity at TCL, I was just happy as can be to even have it on a streaming service, you know. So, you know, so it just doesn't really matter to me. It just doesn't really matter. I'm just happy that it's just being released at all, or at least that I'm getting that opportunity, you know, because it's cool. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, like I said, I don't really care about, you know, being showcasing it. I'm more about just creating my art. But you know, opportunities like that, they're cool. They're cool. But to me, it's just a nonsensical and meaningless debate, because, like I said, I'm beating a dead horse, but it's really not your decision. And just be grateful that anyone is seeing it. Especially, I know it's for business, I know, and I know that for career-wise, I get it. I get it where you're coming from, but just be happy. Just be happy that it's out there in any capacity. So that's my thoughts on this video. That's it for my thoughts on this topic. You guys let me know, and yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos in the future. We are actually going to be doing some movie reviews pretty soon here, so make sure you guys check those out when they come out. And yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I just repeated myself. I need to go to bed. So thank you guys for watching, and just be safe, take care, wash your hands and all that, and I'll see you next time.